Hi, welcome everyone to the financial result presentation of the first half of 2024 of Indexa Capital Group. You can find the presentation on our group page. To get there, type group.indexacapital.com. Scroll down if you need to translate the web into English. At the top of the page, click Financial Information and Documentation. Look for our current presentation and download the file. On our group page, you can also subscribe with your email to receive our latest news and updates. During the presentation, you can ask questions. To ask them, type your name and surname in the box of your screen, click Join, look for the chat button, and type your question. At the end of the presentation, that will last around 20 minutes, we will have a Q&A, where we will answer all of them. Today, I'm also here to introduce to Unai Ansejo, François Derbaix, and Ramón Blanco, all of them co-founders and executive directors at Indexa Capital Group. Without further delay, let's kick off.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the entire team of Indexa Capital, I would like to thank you for taking the time to join today's video conference on the presentation of the results of Indexa Capital Group for the first half of 2024. Thank you. The plan for today is as follows. First, we are going to follow an executive summary. Second, we are going to talk about the key performance indicators. Third, we are going to review the financial results of the first half of 2024. Fourth, we are going to talk about the main achievements that we have achieved this first half. And finally, we are going to talk about the next steps that we have ahead of us. We are presenting today strong results. Our revenue growth is accelerating and we are investing in France. Fees for the first half of 2024 have grown by 31%, reaching a total of 2.99 million euros. And last year, growth was at 23%. And now, in October, revenue is growing at an annual rate of 50%. So as you can see, the growth of the revenue is accelerating from 23 to 31 to now, in October, 50%. For instance, you can check the daily revenue rate increase in the section stats of our website, indexacapital.com. The main driver of this growth is this strong inflow of net money of new clients, which is at a peak, and as well as the solid portfolio performance. And we have achieved this growth while maintaining profitability. In the first half of this year, net profit after taxes has been 200,000 euros, nearly at the same level as in the first half of last year. That was 210,000 euros. Now you can see the executive summary of the presentation that we are going to develop more in detail in the next slides and minutes. Here you can see a visual presentation of the main financials that we have just presented. Again, revenues have grown 31% from 2.28 million in the first half of 2023 to 2.99 million in the first half of 2024. And we have achieved this growth while maintaining profitability, basically flat at 200,000 euros in the first half of the year. We have just seen that the revenue has increased 31%, but the revenue has stayed flat. The reason behind that is that in this year we have had two new costs that we didn't have before. First, income taxes, and second, new expenses from the French expansion after the Carabel acquisition. On a comparable basis, taking this into account, the profit would have more than tripled. So that means that we are investing our efficiency savings in our international expansion while maintaining profitability. And at this point, I would like to hand over to François, co-CEO of Indexa Capital, who will provide further insights on the growth of Indexa Capital EV. Thank you.
Thank you, Unai. So we are going to deep dive into Indexa Capital AV, which is the main subsidiary of the group. If we look at the top line, the AUMs have grown 44% in the last 12 months, from June 2023 to June 2024. On the chart, you see that the growth is coming mainly from net inflows, so new investment from the customers. And we are growing 473 million of net inflows. And the rest, 286 million, is coming from the market increase, so market returns. So we grew from 1.7 billion 1 year ago in June 2023 to 2.5 billion in June 2024. On the right table, you can see also the same top line, so the AUMs, AUM growth of 44%. We can see the number of customers increase of 23%, which is a very good growth in 1 year. And the rest of the data is mostly customer data per customer, so customer acquisition cost, payback period, yearly churn per account, etc. Of all those data, we can see that it's mostly stable, except for the average volume per customer, which is growing 16% in 1 year, growing from 26,000 euro per customer on average 1 year ago to more than 30,000 per customer end of June of this year. If we look at the returns of the portfolios, we see that we are confirming our huge difference with benchmark. So on the right graph, you can see in blue the average Indexa portfolio, which is a portfolio number 6, and in orange the benchmark. So the benchmark is the average returns of the Spanish mutual funds comparable to this portfolio. And we see that per year the difference is 4.6 percentage points, which means on the 8 years that we have already been busy, a total difference of 39 percentage points. So if you invested 100 euro 8 years ago, a little more than 8 years ago, in Indexa you would have no more than 150 euro on average in this portfolio. And if you invested on the benchmark on the average Spanish mutual funds, you would have a little more than 110 euro. So the difference is really important. This data is coming from our stats page, so you can go you see the source, bottom left. Source is indexacapital.com stats. And on the statistics page, you can select the portfolio, you can select the period, you can select the product, and even you can download the data if you want to further analyze it. If we look at the net inflows, so net inflows are the money invested by the customers minus the money coming out of Indexa, the withdrawals. I would make 3 observations on this graph, which shows the net inflows since the beginning. The first one, very important, is that the net inflows have always been positive, even in market drawdowns, like in COVID-19 or in the Ukraine invasion in 2022. Even when the market was falling, we managed to keep net positive inflows every single month of our history. And that's, I think it's quite exceptional, because most of the asset managers normally are experiencing net withdrawals during the crisis. So that means that our customers are really well educated and know, or many of them know, that it's not a good time to withdraw the money after a market drawdown. Second observation is that if we look at 2024, right of the graph, we see that the net inflows are currently around 50 million per month, quite stable in 2024. And we can even anticipate you the data from September and October, and we are now around 60 million per month. So still accelerating in the net inflows. Next page. That's the cohorts analysis. The cohorts is the study of how much are the customer investing when they start with Indexa. So the month 0, you see on the graph, the month 0, on average, they start with a 10,000 euro investment. The dark blue line, the longest one, is the cohorts of customers from 2016. So those are, it's an older cohort. customers that have been with us for more than 8 years now, or on average 8 years. And we see that they started with 10,000 euro and they're investing every year on a steady pace. And after 8 years, they already have invested with us more than 90,000 euro. So the good news there is that we are growing thanks to the new customers acquisition, and we are also a lot growing through the new investment from the current customers. Now we have a look at the competition. So this histogram shows the portfolio managers in Spain. So most of our activity at Indexa Capital is based in Spain. And there we compare ourselves with the large banking groups and insurance groups doing also portfolio management. So you see that the ranking is led by the larger banking groups like CaixaBank, BBVA, Santander, etc. And a couple of observations for Indexa Capital is that we are already occupying the 8th position of the national ranking. Actually, we stepped one position above last presentation. 6 months ago, we were the number 9, and now we have passed Banca March. And another important observation is that Indexa is the fastest growing company in this ranking. So Indexa Capital grew 44% in AUMs, as we saw, between June 2023 and June 2024. The fastest growing means that we will probably keep climbing positions in this portfolio management ranking. And now I'm giving the word to my colleague Ramón Blanco, who is going to tell us a little bit more about BWater.
Thank you very much, François. Good morning to everyone. I'm going to talk now about a couple of our subsidiaries. The first one is BWater Asset Management, which is our subsidiary where we invest in private equities. The assets under management grew by 7% year on year. The revenues grew accordingly 8%, and the net losses reduced, that means improved, by 24% to 80,000 euros for the first 6 months of the year. The objective for BWater Asset Management for the next quarters is basically 1, to continue to grow its assets. 2, to become profitable as soon as possible. In the next slide, we are going to talk about another of our subsidiaries, which is Indexa Carabel. Carabel is the company that we acquired earlier this year in France. Assets under management grew by 100%. Accordingly, revenues grew by 86%, and the losses also grew by 118%. To be noted that here, within this cost growth, there are non-recurrent expenses related to the acquisition. We are happy with the development of the company. The company is developing according to plan. And to be noted also that now that we have a very strong team, very strong local team in France, we hope that we will be able to tackle the option that for us means the French market, which I remind the audience, it's around 4 times the size of the Spanish market. And now I'm going to give back the word to Unai.
Thank you, Ramón. Now we turn to review the financial results of the consolidated group for the first half of 2024. Here you can see a brief summary of the profit and loss statement of Indexa Capital Group. And I would highlight again 2 numbers. First, that the revenue growth is 31% while maintaining profitability. And second, that this revenue growth is accelerating. Right now, in October, we are seeing revenue growth close to 50% year on year. Again, you can see that the profit is flat, but the revenue is growing. The reason behind that, again, is that we are paying corporate taxes. We have finished compensating previous years' accumulated losses and started to pay taxes on corporate profits recently, and second, the costs of our expansion in France. And now turning to the consolidated assets, liability and equity statement for the 30th of June of 2024. I will highlight again two numbers that you can find in the last two rows. First, that equity has increased 8% to 2.5 million euros. And second, that total liabilities have grown 86% to 1.8 million euros, basically due to first, an increase in pending taxes, corporate tax, and second, new long-term debts that have been acquired through Carabel that amount to 370,000 euros. And now turning to the main achievements, we want to discuss what we have accomplished in this year. At the group level, in March, we completed the acquisition of Carabel, Fund Your Future. In September, we sold a minority participation in Tuyo, which is an insurtech company, and we have sold this participation with more than 100,000 euros in capital gain and 3 times the invested capital gain, which adds up to an interest rate of return of 65%. And finally, in October, we merged successfully the two companies that we had in France, Indexa Courtier and Carabel. And yeah, this is at the group level, the achievements. And then going to the different subsidiaries. In Indexa Capital AV in February, we got access to the premier class in the monetary market fund, getting our clients savings of 10 basis points in this specific fund. In April 2024, we did an adaptation, a tax adaptation in the calculations that we make in our tax efficiency software. And in May 2024, we reduced the investment minimum to 1,000 euros for existing clients. So that means that if you have an account and you want to open an account for your kids, you can start from 1,000 euros and not 2,000 euros. And in May 2024, our fund of funds, which is called Indexa Renta Variable Mixta Internacional, turned 5 years. And it is the second most profitable fund in its category, with numbers of Inverco. Now turning to BWater Asset Management, in July we made a new investment in Reskit, which is an app development company. And finally, turning to Indexa Carabel, we now have, as Ramón mentioned, a team dedicated to growing France and offering basically 2 different products right now, Plan d'épargne retraite, PER, and life insurance savings. And the outlook is very promising. We are growing more than 100%, and we look forward to growing more. And now, turning to the review of the objectives that we have by getting listed in the BME Growth last year, we have achieved 2, and 1 is still under development. The first one that has been completed is to increase the awareness of the company. We have measured that the assistant awareness has grown from 6.7 in October 2022 to 12.7 in October 2023. So that means that more people know Indexa, and we believe that this is due to the listing. Second, that we wanted to be able to use our shares as a currency to develop inorganic growth in acquisitions, and we have proven this with the Carabel acquisition. And finally, the other objective that is under development is to get a reasonable liquidity for our stock. So the numbers are that in 2023 we got a liquidity of 2.5 million euros, and in 2024 we are at 800,000 euros. We are working on several fronts to improve this liquidity. For example, we give as much information as possible that you can find in the website of the group. And you can also subscribe via email to updates that we make to the market. And of course, we are open to any suggestions that you could have in order to improve our information. And now, at this point again, I would like to hand over to Ramón, who will explain the next steps that we have ahead of us for the group. Thank you.
Thank you, Unai. So now I'm gonna talk about the next steps for the group. First, we will continue to grow in the current products and countries where we are. Second, automating has gotten us here to be able to create a profitable service. So we will continue to do so in the coming future. We will keep innovating. Late last year, we launched a pension plan for independent workers here in Spain. Late last year as well, we launched a monetary fund for short-term savings pegged to the funds account. Both products are performing extremely well in this year, 2024, and we plan to continue launching innovations in 2023. We will increase revenues, certainly more than cost, and continue creating profits for our shareholders. We will also continue reducing the cost for our clients. The bigger we are, the more we are able to leverage our relationships with our suppliers and to be able to decrease the cost of the service, savings that we plan to continue passing on to our clients. And at BWater, we will continue to invest in excellent tech companies with positive cash flow and mainly through secondaries. Finally, in the next slide, the summary of the presentation is that we are growing, our revenues are growing, the growth of our revenues is accelerating. We are even hoping that this growth is even accelerating more in the short-term future. We are consolidating our leadership and competitive position in Spain. And finally, we keep an eye on strategic acquisitions, mainly in the countries where we are, namely Spain, France, and Belgium, but also opportunistically elsewhere in continental Europe. Thank you very much. And now I'm going to pass the word back to François, who is going to have some tips for the audience.
Thank you, Ramón. So we have completed the results presentation, and we are happy to take any questions, comments, or anything that you would like to discuss. So you have this space on the right of the video where you can write your name if you like, and you can make any question. You can do it in English if you like. You can do it in French or in Spanish. So happy to comment. We need a voluntary for the first question. I'm checking that the chat is working. Well, you know that we always have our email open. So the email for investors relations is investors@indexacapital.com. We have the group page, as Unai mentioned before, and Carlota as well, available in English, in Spanish, and in French. And there is a lot of information available on the statistics page of Indexa Capital AV, where we update it on a daily basis. So that's quite useful, I think. Well, thank you. We have a question about if we have a forecast of revenues and AUMs that we can share for 2025. Unai, you want to take this
Yeah.
one?
So we don't make a specific, outlook on the future, but given the growth that we are already seeing, it seems that 2025 is going to be a very good year because we are going to start from a much higher number of assets under management. We ended last year with around 2 billion euros. We are going to end this year around 3 billion euros, maybe a bit less. So that only taking this into account, we are going to see a high increase on revenues. And that is going to pass a big part to profits. So that's what I would say on this point. In terms of what we believe that assets under management could be at the end of 2025, with the current growth that we are seeing on net inflows, I would say that maybe getting in the vicinity of 4 billion, that is something that could be achieved. Yeah.
Thank you, Unai. I would add that a good predictor of the next year reserves is the current growth of the AUMs. So as you know, we charge a recurring fee, a daily fee, a management fee on the volume we manage. On average, it's 0.25%. And we are now currently growing around 50% year on year. So in October 2024 against October 2023. So if the market were flat, it would mean that a good predictor of next year reserves could be a 50% increase. Now, of course, if the market is growing faster in value, then maybe the revenue growth could be slightly higher. And if the market were to go down, then the revenues, of course, the AUMs and the revenues would go down as well.
Maybe it's worth to add also that we mentioned it on the presentation, but maybe we can repeat it, that on the stats page of Indexa Capital, we publish the daily recurrent revenues that we are getting, basically, and this is based on the most recent information that we have. So if you multiply that and you analyze it, you are able to check the recurrent revenues for Indexa Capital AV, which is the largest contributor of revenues to the group, and you can infer from that where we are on a recurrent basis.
Yeah, the number that we have right now on the recurrent daily annualized revenues is close to 7 million euros. So that's the best predictor that we can have for the future right now. But if you look at the graph, you can see that it is increasing very rapidly. So
it's not a hockey stick, but almost.
It's accelerating. We would be glad to take any other question if somebody has any comment, questions, suggestion. Feel free to comment on the chat area. And if not, then we would conclude the presentation and meet again in 6 months. But maybe we can wait for a couple of seconds in case we have more, maybe another question coming.
It seems that the presentation has been very, very clear.
Maybe just to repeat again that we are very happy to take questions on investors@indexacapital.com. You can write us in Spanish, in English, in French, and if you do it in any other language, we'll make our best to put it on Google Translator and answer you as well.
Okay. Thank you very much, and see you in 6 months, if not before.
Thank you.
Thank you all for being here today. And thank you for your questions. We really appreciate your participation. See you in the next financial result presentation. In the meanwhile, if you have any question or comment, send us an email to investor@indexacapital.com. If you're press, send it to com@indexacapital.com. Bye.